Good morning, kinesiology classes. Let's talk about some arthrokinematics. So first off, I just want to, this is one of the harder subjects that takes people a little bit longer time to grasp, but it is something that's very important and something that you'll be tested on all semester long. So let's get this down right now. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to go in your kinesiology books, notebooks, whatever, and I want you to copy. I'm going to screen share, and I want you guys to copy this down exactly. Let's see, let's just do the desktop, start the screen share. Okay. So in arthrokinematics, one of the key mistakes I see a lot of people make is they start worrying about the slide and glide and whether it's a convex or concave moving on what right off the bat. That's a mistake. The very first thing you need to do is you need to find the role of the joint. And so take some time. You could pause the video if you need to, but fill out this chart. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. But what's nice about arthrokinematics and finding the role in the slide glide is there's only six possible actions and movements in arthrokinematics, and that's an anterior roll, a posterior roll, superior, inferior, medial, or lateral. So in class, you get the definition to follow the distal segment. Look at where it's going. And that works for a lot of stuff, but I want to make this a little bit easier. Anytime you see flexion movement, internal rotation, or horizontal adduction, that is always going to be an anterior roll. Sorry, I should have thrown in some commas. I do want to clarify for the flexion, that is everywhere except for the knee. The knee is backwards. It's every kind of flexion movement. So I'm going to stop screen sharing. Stop screen sharing. So anytime you see flexion, so shoulder flexion, elbow flexion, hip flexion, any kind of internal rotation of the shoulder, internal rotation of the hip, or horizontal adduction, that is always going to be an anterior roll. Let's see. Let's go back to screen sharing. Desktop screen share. Posterior roll. Anytime you see extension, except for the knee. External rotation. Or horizontal abduction, you can be guaranteed that it is going to be a posterior roll. Okay, let's see this. Stop screen sharing. So just to make a few more demonstrations, anytime you see extension of the shoulder, the elbow, the hip, anytime you see external rotation of the shoulder, external rotation of the hip, anytime you see horizontal abduction, that is a posterior roll. And then just to explain the knee real quick, I'm going to point this down. So let's have my knee at 90 degrees. This is knee extension. This is knee flexion. You can see how if I'm extended and I do knee flexion, that would be it's opposite. It would be considered a posterior roll because the joint is moving from an anterior position back posteriorly. And vice versa. When I extend my knee, it's coming posterior, moving anteriorly. Back to the screen share, desktop. Okay. What happened? Oh, there we go. Okay. Superior roll. This is where it gets a lot easier. Anytime you see abduction, whether it's the hip or the shoulder, you know it's a superior roll, and that is it. An inferior roll is very similar, except it's adduction of the hip and shoulder. And that's it. And then the only times you see a medial or lateral roll, anytime you see ulnar deviation, that is definitely a medial roll. And then I'm 90% confident, but inversion of the ankle. And then a lateral flexion would be radial deviation. And once again, 90% confident, eversion of the ankle. So that's the first part of the video. How long have I been recording? I don't know. But I'll stop there because I want to break this up. If you can memorize this list, if you can figure it out, this will make finding the roll a lot easier. And if you can find the roll, it's going to be a lot easier to find the slide glide. I'll do that in the next video.